Hey everybody, I am up in Oakham, Massachusetts. Also looks like Oakham, just to confuse people who aren't from this area. Anyway, I took some stuff to my cousin Samantha, and while I'm here, she's kitty corner across the street from a cemetery. So, of course, I had to come check it out. So I've already taken pictures. I was going to take pictures of just a few stones, but I ended up taking pictures of all the stones. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, I'll just do kind of a brief tour. There's some really cool stones here. So, this is the Churchyard Cemetery in Oakham, Massachusetts. As you can see, still gorgeous, gorgeous church. And the cemetery here is kind of small, but we're kind of out in the middle of, I don't want to say nowhere, but it's pretty remote. Anyway, some gorgeous stones here. So I'm just going to do kind of a brief walk around because this is my first time here. A lot of these stones have really cool lichen patterns on them, which is kind of cool. Some of them, like this one for Isabel Crawford, has really, really cool urn and willow design that's strikingly apparent even now. And then this one, this piece is probably my favorite in the whole cemetery. It's rusting a little bit, but this is for Elizabeth Crawford, wife of Mr. Alexander Crawford, and they were born in Ireland, and she died when she was about 62. But just the carving on this, it looks pretty similar to the style of William Young in Worcester. I'm not quite sure if it is, but if it isn't, it's definitely that same time period and in that same style. So, just a lot of really cool carvings here. A lot of urn and willow, some souls, winged souls. Just a lot of different random ones. Mostly slate, a couple of the other kinds. A lot of patriots buried here. A lot of patriots. Massachusetts in general gave a lot of their men to the war effort, especially early on after it moved out of New England. Men from New England still served, but it wasn't quite the all hands on deck situation. So this is another really cool one. I haven't seen one this early, this shape before, so it could have been placed here later. And it does have an SAR flag. So, very well could be. There's a lot of really cool birds in the woods too. Saw a bluebird earlier. There was a red-tailed hawk flying overhead. I'm not really surprised. Let's see, what else have I seen? Lots of robins. Heard a bunch of things. I'm not very good at my bird sounds, so yeah, some of them I don't know. Colorado birds, of course, but not so much here. Birds have different accents. I thought these were also really, really pretty. These stones, they're for a group of children of the Allen family. And they all died pretty, within about 2 years of each other. So the earliest one was this one in 1829, and then about 6 months later in 1830, and about a year after that, this one in 1831. So all really young children. Not quite sure what was happening in this part of Massachusetts. Could have been any number of things. Smallpox, diphtheria, typhus, yellow fever. Unfortunately, mortality is quite common with the young. Oh, little robin friend. The ground is still kind of springy, so they've been very curious about what I'm doing here, interrupting their food. There's a cute little pond on the other side of this little hill. So this section seems a little bit newer than the other one, just because of the type of stone. These stones are kind of cool. Some of them need to get reset, which is the case everywhere. But it's a really pretty color. One of my favorite slate colors. And it has a really nice pattern on it. Coming back over here towards our little robin friend again. This poor stone has a tree growing in front of it. Don't know who that is for, but it is what it is. That one has some rust on the back, kind of coming at it from the backwards angle. Oh, look at all these robins. Like half a dozen of them here. They're little friends. So these have really some cool urn and willow designs. So what I'm finding here is a lot of the ones in the same family are very, very similar, you know, the carving style. So my guess is they were all done by the same carver. Could have been done all at the same time, but not necessarily. This one is very well preserved, probably because it has fallen forward a little bit. But it has a really cool grasping hands. So this one is from 1873, quite a bit later. And we've got some more urn and willow, which are lovely. Lovely, lovely. Death's heads over in that area. Come back over here, see if I can see some of the other kinds. So some of these are a little bit older. So this has a winged soul. And it's really intricate, got some really cool hair going on. It's for Captain James Grace, looks like. And he died the 15th year of his age in 1775, aged 86. Possibly Revolutionary War, probably a captain in the local militia. This one's kind of cool. You can still see the death's head, that winged, or the soul effigy that's there, the winged soul, but it's completely covered with lichen. Just kind of fill in the little patterns. It probably looked similar to this one. They're not exactly the same. Oh, I don't know what oh, woodpeckers. There are also a lot of woodpeckers here. I like this design also for the urn and willow. And this seems to be a pretty popular design here. So the stone has almost completely fallen forward and sideways, but that's okay. This one also has an engraver's mark at the bottom, engraved by probably Samuel something. Yep, Samuel, and the rest is underground. So, not going to be able to find that out easily. I'm not digging it up. I'm not into doing that now. If we can find somebody who is able to move those stones, because it really takes specialized equipment to move those. They're incredibly heavy. You don't want to damage them. There's a bunch of stuff you also have to do underground to secure them. So some more really cool stones. This one's on the side, kind of along the main drag here. So this is another one that looks similar to the William Young stones. He was very fond of that, this type of slate, and it tends to do the rust. But the carving is still really, really visible. And this was for Mrs. Jenna, wife of Mr. William Parmenter. Oh, we had a little robin go at each other. It happens. Now this is a footstone. Not quite sure where the headstone is. It should be over here, but there's nothing. So either moved from somewhere else, the headstone fell down. Any number of things could have happened. Another stone that's fallen down. This stone also is quite nice. This is for Artemus Howe, Esquire. So he fancied himself a gentleman, and he has his footstone, which is that small one back there. And it's about the same size as some of the other folks' headstones. So this gentleman obviously had some money. Another one of those rusty slate stones. It's very similar to this one, so probably same carver. And this is for Miss Kata Davis, probably Katie, or Catherine, but she was the wife of Deacon Samuel Davis. Could possibly, and I'm guessing this is him, because there's our Samuel Davis. Another wife of Samuel Davis. So it looks like his first wife passed away, so he married again, quite common. He needs somebody to help manage the household and somebody to take care of the kids, especially if you're a deacon. And so she outlived him, apparently, because he died, if we look over here, 1817. She lives until 1834. Almost makes me wonder what these people were like, too. This is for Isaac Stone, Esquire. He must have been in the American Revolution, if he has his veterans marker, because he would have been born, he could have been French and Indian War also, 1794 if he was 64, so he'd have been born around 1730, so yeah, could be either one, or both. A lot of people served in both. Coming over here, some more of the other older stones. This one's kind of cracking, but it had the a Latin, it's probably said Memento Mori up at the top. You can't really see it, but it was there at one point. And then blessed are, then there's the face, blank in the Lord. It's another one of those really cool, intricately carved stones on the side. Love these. There's another one that looks like the William Young School of Art. The stone's the right age. It's the right type of stone. So this is for, here lies interred the remains of Mrs. Sarah Dean, maybe? Yep, Dean, wife of Mr. James Dean, who departed this life June 24th, 1786, blah, in the 51st year of her 51st year of her age. Happy are those who persevered by sane, I can't read all of it. It's those long S's, man, they throw me off. Getting better though. This is for Mr. James Dean, not to be confused with the actor. Quite common name here. So his wife is over there. They have completely different stones. If you can tell, so she died in 1786. She doesn't even have the flying soul. She just has the a head on the top of her stone with some other artwork. And then you see even 30 years later when he was buried, his stone completely different. Urn and willow, more classical inspired. So gravestone really did change. The artwork changed quite a bit over the years. Coming through this way, and we're almost to the end of the cemetery. So there's one that tried to be preserved in concrete. Didn't work. This is for Mr. Aiden Hudson. I don't know if you can see. See if I can turn it a little bit. Maybe? Might just be sideways. Nope. Unfortunately, can't turn my phone while I'm recording. Sorry. So that's that winged soul. The soul is free now. It can ascend to heaven. This one has a really cool shape on the outside. This is for Captain Nehemiah Allen. If he was probably born around, if he died in age 66, 1730. So French and Indian War possibly, more than likely. Also the American Revolution. Wow, traffic. That's like the third car I've seen all day. So this one does have an engraver down at the bottom, engraved by B. J.O. Soule, S-O-U-L-E. So if you're into stone carvers, you can go and look him up. It's another one that had fallen down. And half of it's on the back. It's probably still there, or maybe safe in the church. This one is quite the impressive stone. This is for Spencer Field, Esquire. He also has a very large footstone in the back. Nice stone carving. If you come up here and look in the urn, it has S. Field, Esquire. So it has a little sun up here. Could be a mason. It's got some tassels on the curtains. I mean, there's a lot of technology that goes into the stone carving. Let me tell you. Another pretty one. This is for Abigail Bullard. She was only 9. And it has another really cool, pretty little design up there for her. We're almost to the last few. One of my other new favorites here. So this is probably a footstone, not a headstone. It doesn't have any dates on it. All it has is the person's name and a little tree up at the top. So it's probably a footstone, although her headstone's gone. That one is for probably also a footstone, possibly a headstone, but probably not. This is for Lois Ripley. This is Rebecca Ripley. And here, the first name's missing, but it looks like it was probably Hepzibah Ripley. Hello, birds. Hanging out in the trees. Wondering what I'm doing. Strange people. Another really cool urn and willow. Got some of the marble over there. I've got a new stone. I'll end with my other favorite. How about that? Crunch, crunch leaves. Another one of our Revolutionary War patriots, Ichabod Packard. Probably a replacement stone just by the shape. This is for Ebenezer Foster, Lieutenant Ebenezer Foster. SAR marker, probably SAR. Another really cool urn and willow on theirs. Different type of willow tree than you see in some other places. So the gorgeous urn and willow. This is known as the land of urn and willows. It's okay. This is for Nathan Brown. He has some other fancy script going on too. Miss Salome, daughter of Mr. Moses and Mrs. Eunice Brown. She was 25. Mr. Edward Partridge, they ran out of room. See that if I come closer? Yeah, so they ran out of room, so they just moved it down. When they started doing those, type was kind of all the rage, so they started copying the typeface of the time. So this is Edward, another child of Moses and Eunice Brown. He also died in 1829, but he died in January, and then must be his sister who died 12 months later in December. So another one of my favorite ones. This is Mr. Moses Brown. Well, let's do Eunice first. Eunice, his wife, died aged 50 in 1828. Super gorgeous, still well carved stone. But then there's this one, Mr. Moses Brown, who died October 8th, 1826, age 53. There's a very interesting urn and willow up at the top, but then he has the sun design down underneath. Wondering again if he was maybe a mason, but didn't say anything. The bottom of the stone is also interesting. It has some patterning down at the bottom to look like brick. So anyway, folks, that is the cemetery here in Oakham. So I will catch you all later.